in a period of 10 years, just within the family alone, you can cut up without compounding interest, just from 1,000 bob each. Kitu ya 15 to 20 million is easy.
Very easy.
From 1,000 bob.
From 1,000 bob. That's exactly what they are doing, but now they've made it sweeter.
Wadau, umechoka na internet problems? Kwanza, who the hell is buffering? Say goodbye to all your internet problems by plugging to the Sigmoid Group, professional installers wa mtandao, especially kama ni Starlink. You're looking for installation in an apartment block, single dwelling home, ushago, whichever corner of this country. You're looking for professional installers, consultation to the whole process, mpaka uswitch on mtandao uione kwa nyumba. Contact details to Sigmoid Group, ndio hizi tumekuwekea hapa kwa screen. Consider yourself plugged.
Wadau, kama kawaida, when you stumble on good vibes, lazima tuzilete hapa kwa table ya submissions. Hapa Wojo, our guest for this episode, pia ni money understanding on a whole new level. It's a very interesting concept. We've not covered that on set before. Our guest, Peter Wachira, is the CEO of the ICEA Lion Trust. Na leo tunataka kubreak. They found a way, in my words, to make you live forever. And make your money reach your great grandchildren. So brace up, and I trust this conversation will prove me right as the trustee and representative of the people as far as good vibes is concerned. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Daktari.
Sawa. So now, I'll give you two stories.
Yes.
Ya kwanza ni something that caught the attention of people on Twitter sana.
Yes.
A guy said that landlord wake alikuwa anakujia pesa in cash. The landlord used to come for the money in cash.
Yes.
And the setup is in Lavington, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And at some point, the landlord just disappeared.
Yes.
He stopped coming. So the guy had tweeted that alikuwa ameka the rent aside for 2 years. So he had 2 years worth of rent, just in case the landlord shows up.
Yes.
So there was a lot of speculation around that. One of them was, this is probably one of those people who does not trust their wife or the marriage setting of their family.
That's right.
So hiyo ni yake anakulanga pole pole, and probably something bad had happened.
Yes.
Okay? And number two, that was the main. So people were like, oh, you are lucky, man. Because in this sense, if someone owns a property like that and it's only you that knows about it, inamaanisha ni kama ile unclaimed asset, but not necessarily unclaimed assets, because ni ngumu if the family cannot claim it.
That's true.
They don't know about it. What do you think in your history, in your experience ya kudeal na wealth and generational wealth, acha tuseme hivyo in context ya trust, what do you think happened there?
Wow. There are a lot of scenarios that you can actually bring up that may have happened. But I think one of the unfortunate scenarios you can think of is, for those 2 years after huyu jamaa aliacha kuchukua hiyo dom, maybe the family is struggling somewhere.
Maybe, yes.
The father owned some property in Lavington that used to be one of the revenue earners for the family.
Yes.
Most probably, because he stopped coming, he either may have fallen sick, or worse still, may have passed on. And maybe he was the breadwinner for the family.
Yes.
And the source of his revenue was this property in Lavington. So chances are that revenue to the family may have stopped, because chances are that the family, maybe wife na watoi, have no idea where those properties are.
Okay.
And incidentally, I think it looks like this is a very common story in this country. I mean, I can give you almost 100 stories of some guy who used to own properties, a very similar scenario in Mombasa. There's a caretaker in Mombasa. A guy comes from somewhere, let's say in Kiambu somewhere. So once in a while, anakimia Mombasa, anachukua rent, anarudi Kiambu. So the caretaker tells the guy, jamaa anaitwa Wachira anakujanga Mombasa kuchukua. But all of a sudden now he stops. But he knows that he came from somewhere in Kiambu. So this mzee stops coming. Then over time, he realizes, okay, huyu mzee hajakuja for some time. So after many years, he goes looking for him kwenye alikuwa amemwelezea anaishi in Kiambu. So he goes and says, I am looking for Mr. Wachira. I am his employee. Now, I've been taking care of his property, but he has not shown up in the last 5 years. Where can I find him? Then, of course, the family is confused because they have no idea that the mzee had assets in Mombasa. They don't know where to even begin the conversation with this guy because this mzee passed on 5 years ago.
Whoa.
Yes. Has so much wealth in Mombasa that this guy has probably just been taken care of. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it is only by this guy showing up that they get to realize that there's this wealth here. There are so many of those stories that we get to interact with. And one of the things that comes to mind, and the conversation is about the family wealth conversation is more a family people conversation than a wealth conversation. In fact, in ICEA Lion, we normally call it the story of love. Because when wealth is not properly managed, before the wealth gets lost, it is the family that starts to suffer. It is the love that gets to be messed up. It is the conflicts, the struggles about where will the next meal come from. Or if Dr. Kingori and I are brothers, it is now the rift between me and you that will start now getting lost. Because I'm looking at maybe our father has probably that property in Lavington and maybe another property somewhere where I would say, across the road that is not as premium as Lavington. Then I'm looking at Dr. Kingori, I'm thinking, this guy is not going to take the property in Lavington. I want to push him to that other property. So that's some of the issues that we've started experiencing is that the issue of wealth transfer, before the wealth transfer fails, it is the communication and the trust within the family that fails. It is the love that tends to fail.
So what do you think, first of all, this guy going to Kiambu and announcing that, first of all, that could do more harm than good? Because first of all, the families may enter a war they were not prepared for.
They may enter a war that they are not prepared for. And then they may have access to information that they probably even regret having access to.
Yes.
Because it is information that all of a sudden brings a lot of value to them that they have probably not prepared to handle. Or they have, what you may call some bad feeling. How could Mzee do this to us? Did he love us enough to let us know that there is some wealth here? And questions like, so where are the titles? Because those are the other things that families are struggling with. You have assets somewhere in Mombasa, Lavington, Kamulu, kila mahali. But possibly your titles are somewhere under your mattress, or they are scattered somewhere where you're hiding them because you're feeling like if my son knows of this title, they may come to probably grab it away and, maybe liquidate this property. But besides that, I think the bigger or the most depressing aspect that we've experienced is the aspect of when the family now gets to know of this wealth, they have no idea how to pick up that wealth and utilize it now for their benefit. Because in most cases, because this mzee was operating, chini ya maji, he had not trained any of the children or the family members on who manages this wealth. What did it take for me to create this wealth? How do I sustain it? How do I maintain it? And you find that the best that the family can do is to receive that wealth and do what they know how best to do. Sell it and enjoy the money, because most people know how to use money, but they don't know how to manage and maintain assets.
So when we go into the mind of the person who does that, On the flip side, you would say that they are probably right in knowing family turns against you at some point. Okay?
That's right.
So by the time they log out of this world,
Yes.
they are probably in the mindset of he has run his race, amemaliza, shauri yenu, because for the people who get a chance to know they are going,
Yes.
they probably would have told the family. But some of them probably consciously
Yes.
did not tell the family for reasons known to them. So you would say that what is this attachment with him leaving it to the family compared to at the point of running his race, as long as yeye hakuwa anategemea mtu, ya dunia ikibaki, shauri yenu. And you judge him for that. What do you think goes on pia in his mind?
Yeah.
Because hawa wazee wa zamani walikuwa na hizo sana. I met someone,
Sana.
I've met someone aliniambia, I was in Nakuru juzi, one of the wazees I met, wali mention kitu kama hiyo, walisema don't put all your eggs in one basket. So this particular person, yeye alijiwekelea, akasema, yeye atakimbia resi yake, mkipata shauri yenu, mkikosa shauri yenu. What goes on there?
I think there's some element of fear, which is probably out of lack of knowledge. Fear from the family or the people around me. I think wanasamanga kikulacho kinguoni mwako.
They say that, yes.
And essentially because our fathers, who are probably the boomers, the best they knew of how to create wealth is to own it directly. Peter Wachira, the title must read my name. And I want to protect that title because it's the most valuable document that tells me that I own that property. And the fear I have is that if Dr. Kingori is my son and he gets hold of this document, he can collude with whoever in the land's office to transfer this property to themselves or to liquidate it. I think it's the fear of, I want to own it and I can only protect it if I can see it.
But there's nothing wrong with that mindset because there's a certain, in fact, a friend of mine dropped that in it. There's a certain community, a certain neighborhood.
Yes.
A certain neighborhood where watu wanasema ati when a man outlives their usefulness in the family life, they get rid of them. And outliving their usefulness ni ati you've paid school fees for your children mpaka ukamaliza university, wanaanza kukwekea steel wire, simiti hapo kwa pilau nini. So unaenda ukiendanga, you go in installments. So if wazee of that generation have seen some of their friends going because what you have becomes a threat to you. And you blame them.
You cannot blame them. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having that title in your name. The only challenge would be you will not live here forever. You would desire, and that's why I was saying that it's a story of love. You would desire that in your absence, then your family has a way of now picking up what you have built and taking it to the next level. For one simple reason. A family will not remain static. Mzee akona bibi na watoto. Maybe he may be what we are calling generation one. Alitoka ushago, started from zero, and he hustled, he got those properties in, the areas that he has. So you may call him a generation one. He will get a family. Probably by the time, his family, before even the children get married, there will probably be 5 members that are part of him.
Yes.
But the next generation is coming. In probably just about 20, 30 years, the family tree would have grown to probably 30. Within a very short time, it would have grown to a much bigger number.
Yes.
At the heart of a lot of the wazes, because I have actually spoken to very many of them, their desire would be that I would want whatever I have benefits my immediate family, protects myself and my immediate family, but also I leave it as an inheritance for my children. But not just for my children, for my grandchildren. And because the family tree will grow, the idea would be, how can they nurture this so well so that it grows to meet as many generations as possible? The way the scripture says that a good man leaves an inheritance for their children's children.
True. Yes, yes, yes.
A lot of people deep down in their heart actually wants to fulfill that naturally because it's a natural setting. That whatever I am doing today, I'm not just doing it for myself. And I'm not just doing it for my children. I'm actually doing it for their children. In fact, that scripture talks of not my children, but my children's children. Because whatever I have, I will use it to actually raise up my children. By the time I am going, they will probably be able to stand on their own 2 feet. My greatest call is to prepare them so that they can take care of their children, so that that loop can continue growing. That's what I'm talking about, the story of love. So the question then, the problem with that mzee, holding on to that and not building structures to pass on that wealth in an effective manner, is you realize if it's not properly handled, then that wealth becomes the problem to the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unajua, I also saw something very interesting.
Yeah.
Kwa mtandao, where they say the setup was for you to create a certain level of wealth.
Yes.
There are things you have to sacrifice.
Yes.
And there was a circle for friends, circle for family,
Yes.
a circle for your own personal things, for
That's
you
right.
to access a certain kind of money. So for this to be a problem, it sounds like a rich people problem, like wealthy people problem. Like there is a pattern where people say that there's a certain level of money, there's a certain level of wealth that the children are not okay. They didn't get the attention they needed to grow because you have to go hard for you to make that money. Is there a correlation between certain levels of wealth and how your children turn out? And I'm saying this because as you are making that explanation, I have a friend, and I hope he doesn't watch this.
Yes.
He's a senior
Yes.
citizen. He has a very, very big hotel. So
Yes.
he had called me.
Yes.
He wanted me to partner with him because he wants, and his exact words were, he wants someone he can trust to continue doing what he does.
Yes.
Because he does everything by himself, but he has a family.
Yes.
And he called me for a meeting, and we excused ourselves.
Yes.
He introduced me to his son and his wife,
Yes.
and they didn't like me from the onset, and I started avoiding him. And when I look back in retrospect, I'm getting the vibe. Yeah,
Yes.
he was willing to go external than. So I started avoiding him deliberately because I felt like I don't want to put myself in that situation.
Yes.
To be business partners on that level, whereby I'll be in crossfire, in a crossfire,
Yes.
with people who mimi sijawakosea kitu. Like we just hit off a relationship na tulikuwa sawa, okay? But then again, when you come back to someone has made a certain level of money,
Yes. and
it's almost like a superstition. Like, how comes? Okay, his kids are fine. I'm just saying. But now for other cases, the only link up and he's willing to go external. And there's also the element here. Sometimes maybe your children are not interested in your line of business.
That's right.
That's also could be a thing.
That's right.
So now it comes to, does one have, when you say it's love that has failed,
Yes.
right? Can you build wealth and love at the same time, or these are the things that you have to sacrifice?
That's actually a very interesting angle to bring it out. There's some correlation with the scale of wealth and the challenges that wealth brings to the family. But our experience has been the intensity of battles that families have in succeeding wealth that is vast. It's the same intensity that we see someone hacking their mother to death because they want that eighth of an acre and their mother is not going fast enough.
Yeah.
The intensity is the same. It's only that you're probably dealing with now different scales of wealth.
But what you say now brings another twist to it.
Yes.
That having that thing that your children hope to inherit when you're gone
Yes.
could be the reason you're going in the first place.
It could be, but you see, like that situation you've talked about your friend, maybe the reason why the family is feeling uneasy is because your friend has brought in you and they seem to give you a lot more information about their wealth
Yes.
than they have given the family. So they are feeling uneasy.
Yes.
And that's a scenario you see of business friends knowing more about my wealth than my actual family that I will actually leave this wealth to.
Okay.
And actually that is studies as one of the dangers that most families are facing. In fact, a lot of families end up losing a significant value of their wealth from one generation to the other when they are transitioning. In fact, almost 70% of their wealth is likely to be lost, primarily because of those kind of scenarios. And the cause of that, of course, the little part of it is on how you structure. You set up structures to say that, do I have a will or do I have a trust to sort of now transition that wealth to my children?
Yes.
And we can demystify what trust and wills are. But that contribution is usually very small. In fact, you can even combine that to, do I have a prudent investment structure or a legal structure to actually secure my wealth? A lot of people, when they're talking about now wealth transfer, they focus on that. But the contribution of that, in as much as it's very important, is usually very small, just about 3% of the reason why the failure to have that would cause you to lose 70% of your wealth.
Or people lose up to 70%, or probably all of it.
70%. I mean, Dr. Kingari, let's say you have, by the time you're going, you have your 50 million as your net wealth. You are not there, and you've not done your structures right, 70% of that may disappear. And what causes it to disappear, the biggest cause, is not the wealth itself. It's the information that the family has. And that actually that's what you're talking about. Your business partners know more about your assets than your family. And because your family is closer to you and closer to your wealth, they feel entitled. But that entitlement now and lack of the information that is critical for them to get to understand how to pick up and move on now creates a problem. And what shows up in most families is issues of trust and communication because of information asymmetry within the family members. So that the people who have a lot more information about the wealth are likely to probably take advantage of those who do not know.
Yes.
So one of the things that we help families to understand is that you've got to actually help the people who you are trusting to leave this wealth to get to understand what is all this wealth about. What information should they know? How should you replicate yourself to that person? What are the things that you used to do? What are your business networks?
Yes.
So that trust and communication actually is the biggest cause of family wealth transfer of failures. It actually contributes up to 60% of the reason why they fail. There are two others that are usually very critical that I think it's probably part of our cultural structure that we have not adopted that.
Which is?
Very interestingly, failure to train the recipients of that wealth on what to do with it
Is a problem.
is a big problem. Let me give you an example. Assume my father owns a shoemaking company. So that shoemaking company, the value of it, of course, it has assets and it has the value that is being created. So I run that company, I make shoes. So there is information that I need to that my father knows that I probably do not know. They know where they get hide from. Wanajua wale wakulima wanalima ng'ombe na ama zile kichinjio wataenda kuchukua hides. And they have created that network and so to give them a constant supply of their raw materials. They know the skill of making the shoe, and they know that at different times, these are the shoes that are on fashion. Sindio? And they actually know how to put together a shoe. They know how to store that shoe. They know who supplies their shoes to the market. They have built relationships with that. So the question would be, if my father falls dead today, and I show up as his son and says that I am the father of Dr. King, the son of Dr. Kingori, who owned this shoemaking company. So I have come in to take on my father's asset. How long will that business survive?
Not long.
I have no idea where he gets hides from. I have no idea how he makes shoes. I have no idea who supplies those shoes to the market. I have no idea what it takes to take this business to the next level. So one of the things that we are training families is to actually bring the key stakeholders who are the family members who would now take on this. Because you're talking about generational wealth.
What if they are not interested?
Well,
because that's also a factor.
That's also a factor, and it's an important factor. So there are situations where they are not interested. But the most critical aspect is on how do you preserve that information? Because one of the things that you need to hand over, whether you're handing it over to your heirs or you're handing it over to a professional that will take care of it on behalf of your family, is you need to hand over not just the assets or the wealth that you're passing on, but you also need to hand over the knowledge around that wealth. You need to hand over the relationship around that wealth. You need to hand over what it takes to actually maintain that wealth and draw value from it. In fact, one of the things that we are seeing in most families is that a lot of families, when they are fighting over the wealth transition, mzee ameenda and the family is going to court to now take over the wealth, they end up fighting over the assets. And they end up killing the value of the wealth. And it's exactly what I was saying. You own this shoemaking company. The asset may be just the land that equal, and that land may be probably an acre or half an acre. The building, the machines, and the stock. Raw materials.
Eat that money, go back to where you were before the assets.
But the value of that business is probably 100 times more than just that asset. Because the value of the business, the knowledge to keep making shoes, is a lot more, and that is what has been the breadwinner for the family, probably for very many years. It is that value that you need to protect. So that now when you're handing over assets, or when you're handing over wealth, you're not just handing over assets. You need to also train those who are to receive wealth on how do they continue sweating this asset to create value so that it flows into the future. So that's number two. That's the other. So the failure to train the recipient of that wealth on what to do is another big failure. And of course, if you don't train them, the best thing is exactly what you have said. What they know how to do is to convert this into cash and enjoy the cash. But you end up probably only getting, let's say, 5-10% of what you'd have gotten.
But there's a levels of money without losing your train of thought.
Yes.
There's levels of money when they talk of figures like $1 billion, where you can eat 100,000 per day for 27 and 37 years. Do they care? Should they care?
They should actually. And globally, we've actually had experiences of families that have done that. I mean, there are global examples that are given.
Yes.
Of families that were once the wealthiest in the world. And within just 2-3 generations, they are now bankrupt. Yes, I mean, I think we can talk about this because they're in the public sector, like the Vanderbilt family, respected in their times.
And Nani did not even get a taste of it. Anderson Cooper.
Exactly. And Anderson Cooper is probably that generation.
Yes.
But what happened? So there was a lot of wealth. He was the wealthiest in the world at his time. Big in his industry, in railway and steel industry. Left his wealth to the next generation. William took over and doubled the wealth in just 6 years. In a very short time. But by the third generation, the family was declared bankrupt. And you see, 3 generations is a very short time. It's only just about 100 years. Because a generation is usually just about 30 years.
Does that validate the poor people motivation here? Yote ni vanity.
No, it
Don't
doesn't.
look for it because they will eat it or malize.
It doesn't. But I think the lessons are what happens. How do you come from the wealthiest in the world to bankrupt in just 3 generations? It is exactly what I was talking about. The generation that are coming after have not been given the materials to hold on to that wealth. Because what happened is the second generation takes over the wealth, and because there's so much wealth, the best they can do is to just consume it. You see scenarios of, Dr. Kingori, because he has received 1 billion shillings, buying a birthday gift for your spouse worth 200 million because you can afford it. So how many of those gifts will you buy out of 1 billion? And for how long will you keep buying those gifts?
But you see, bado tuliachia kwa point number 2.
Yes.
But let's play a scenario here. We may blame the spending,
Yes.
but we may forget the strategies of
Yes.
wealth preservation.
Yes.
And strategies of wealth preservation includes how people marry
Yes.
at a certain level of wealth.
That's right.
Which would mean that unaona mtu kama Elon Musk is
Yes.
the richest person in the world now.
That's right.
But he could drop down that list very fast.
That's
in
right.
his lifetime by just like 4 marriage decisions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Just 4 marriage decisions.
Yes.
So you would say that probably the second generation, because these people are very, 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 there's a certain level of money that they vet even the people you interact with, and then probably the laws loosen.
That's right.
In the third generation. So it's nothing to do probably with spending only. So it's not only a factor. There's also the factor of human relations.
It's true. It's true. And that's why the conversation of wealth transfer is not just about the wealth. It's actually a holistic conversation. And I'll talk about that on a holistic. In fact, I can give you an example. I was asked by a gentleman, a very senior gentleman in this country, because of what I do. We were having a conversation and he asked me, Wachira, ICEA Lion has been helping families to preserve their wealth through trusts and estate planning solutions for close to 50 years. Would you tell me of a family that has structured their wealth properly and they've succeeded for 3, 4, 5 generations?
In Kenya?
In Kenya. The truth is, there are many examples that you can give. But that question is not just about wealth. It's about the family. Because the success of generational wealth creation is not just the success that you're actually transitioning billions and you're growing those billions across generations. That wealth is there to take care of the family. And it's there to, because you see, if the wealth is there without the family, most people, that's actually what you call vanity. Because all you're doing is just to create wealth and it's useless. So we sat down and actually said, yes, we'll give you an answer, but the answer is actually not just about wealth. It's a holistic answer. It's about the family. And we came up with a structure called the family system, where you're saying every family needs to actually preserve that family system, holistic family system, across generations. And you're balancing 3 key elements. I know there's a train of thought that I stopped on.
At number 2.
We'll go back to it.
Yes.
So there are 3 key elements that every family need to balance. Element number 1 is the family members, because you're planning around the family. So the family needs to understand who are the members in this family. How many generations do we have? Where are they? Utakuwa na mtoto mwingine, wengine wako Kenya, wengine wako UK because kuna pesa umetuma university huko, wengine wako Australia and all that.
This sounds like having sex on a budget. As in, okay, but
Yes.
carry on.
So the family membership, who are you as a family? Which generations are represented there? How do the family members relate with each other? What are the relationships within the family membership? Because The way our fathers think, they are in the boomers generation. The way their fathers used to think, the silent generation, is very different from the way they think. It's very different from the way Gen X think. It's different from the way as millennials we think. It's very different from the current Gen Z and the alphas will think. Our fathers used to love land very much because that is the thing that they came from, the struggle to actually own land. And when they got the opportunity to own land, they valued that very much.
Yes.
The current generation of Gen Zs have nothing to do with land. Because for them, there's a lot more value they can create. Not just from land, but from probably other, so how do you get to understand the family, their bank, those kind of things? Then the other important element is that the family structure itself. I mean, let me give an example. I come from somewhere in Muranga, and assume my father owns, or I own some 100 acres coffee farm in Muranga somewhere, or a tea farm in Muranga somewhere. Because I've done very well, I have sent my children to university, to UK, others to Australia and all that. And I'm encouraging them because Kenya hakuna kazi na nini. I want them to go there, learn, be exposed to the world, get their jobs there and work. And work for as long as you can. Then 20 years later, when I am in my 80s, I am thinking, I want these guys to come back and actually pick up this coffee farm and take it to the next generation. What are the chances that they will come back from UK and behold that 100 acres of coffee farm and manage it? The chances are very slim. But the truth is, there are families that have actually been able to connect their children wherever they are with the core assets of the family. And that is where information dissemination now becomes critical. Because you're planning around these people, it is part of the wealth. Because you will not carry this wealth, this land, and go to heaven with it. But you can actually connect them, get them to understand what do you do on a regular basis? What are some of the practices that you carry out? How do you manage this farm? They probably, you may even expose them to, because they're in a position where they can actually get global experiences on how farms are managed. Could you actually give me experiences of how do people manage farms in Australia, in UK? Can you come and probably help me implement some of these things?
And actually look for markets there. And
look for markets there. You're basically involving them in there. And you're creating information that connects them. That's part of the family.
Okay.
Cooperation, connection, and also getting to understand who are the people that you're planning around. Then number 2 aspect that most families need to have is an aspect of the value system. Who are we as a family? What are the things that we believe in? And those are probably some of the areas where you think of, you talked of probably the wealth can be messed up by just 4 marriages. So it's the conversation of what are the values that the family have? What are our practices? And some of those practices would be, you may say that as a family, we want to have a family gathering on some level of frequency. Maybe at least every year, can we meet together once or twice or thrice as part of our practice, as part of our, the things that we value? How do we handle complex issues within the family? If there's a disagreement within one of the family members, that disagreement is likely to affect the relationship within the family. It's likely to affect how we deal with each other, how we work together in probably preserving the wealth. How do we solve that disagreement? Other issues like, what are our shared goals and visions? I can give you another example. I did a presentation somewhere, and Mzee called me to his home in Karen. And he told me, Wachira, you have a very good message for families. But there's one thing that you may need to refine. He told me that the problem that most families have right now is that every family member is trying to fight for their own interests. And that's the reason why you'd find brother fighting brother, sister fighting brother, because you're fighting for number 1. And he said, how can we help families to actually think of shared interests that may be a lot more valuable than the sum of our individual interests. That is part of the value system. And what most families are doing right now is to draft what is known as a family constitution. A family constitution is basically a document that you're putting down, you're actually writing down, this is who we are as a family, these are our values, there are some things that you want to put down as the things that you want to see.
Believing in Jesus is not enough.
Believing in Jesus is not enough. You may want to actually break it down to, if there is a problem, one of our values is honesty and openness. So that if there's a problem, we want to put it on the table to discuss. We want to have one of our values that we actually respect each other as family members. Or we cover each other's dirty linens. That you do not speak about things of the family out there, but you would want to address them here. There are families that actually go to the lengths of actually writing those down. And it's actually something that we advocate. And I can actually contextualize it this way. One of the most important value systems we have is the scriptures. Imagine, kama God alisema, the scriptures are not written down, that they are passed down through the word of mouth.
That corrects the statement tumesema.
Yes.
Believing in Jesus is enough. Just practice what he preached.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So imagine sasa, let's say 4,000 years later, today.
Tunapiganga tu
Ni story sasa. So nakuja nakwambia, 4,000 years ago, there was a tribe that were slaves in Egypt.
Yes.
Somehow, even
the
being slaves.
importance of putting things in writing.
Yes. Somehow they got out of slavery, they managed to actually, there was some force or some mighty
A reference
person.
point is very important.
Yes.
Records.
Yes. I mean, you're trying to sort of imagine how that story would be.
Yes.
That walitoka Egypt, wakapitia Red Sea, they went through the Red Sea, then waka in the desert for a whole 40 years. Then they came out of those 40 years and they are still the strongest nation and they conquered other bigger nations today. That story will not be believable.
It will change. In fact, kuna mahali watapitia Thika Road.
Do you know, by the way, that is the story of Africa? Because the value systems of our families in Africa has been passed down through the word of mouth. And because of that, we've actually lost a lot of the values that brought the families together. And this conversation is actually connected with the generational wealth creation.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why most families are saying, you don't just define what our values are as a family. You want to write it down. So that you create a reference, and in future, the future generations can say that we want to grow these values to the current setting, but there's a reference. You know what you're doing? The intersection between that value system and the family is you're basically defining the culture of the family, because the culture is essentially the behaviors and practices of a community. You're saying, as Dr. Kingori, what is the culture that I would want to define for my family? And what culture would I want to preserve and pass it down the generation line? So that now, people who will come 3, 4, 5, 10 generation would say that as the Kingori family, this is how we behave. These are the things that we consider important. This is the things that we practice.
That's an interesting thing to say.
Yes.
Just to back up your example.
Yeah.
For movie fans, there's a series here, HBO, called Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And let me give a good example of a bad example. So there's a family called the Lannisters.
Yes.
And they managed to be the strongest and the wealthiest families in that movie. And you can see what you're saying as a thread in that context, because the father says, as in the father dictates the family rules.
Yes.
The legacy, everyone knows how to align with the family.
Yes.
If someone from the family is attacked,
Yes.
In fact, people are afraid to attack because the repercussions
Yes.
will come down as a whole.
Yes.
And then there's a philosophy they have that helps them bargain out of certain situations. Like one of the sons, Tyrion Lannister, gets kidnapped.
Yes.
Alafu, he bargains his way out of a difficult situation
Yes.
using the family name. He does not have the cash.
Yes.
Like he promises people, like, I can pay you all the money you want. He bargains. He got himself in that situation a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I can pay you. Where is the money?
Yes.
I don't have the money, but a Lannister always pays his debts.
Yes.
And it's a reputation that the family is known for,
Exactly.
such that it's actually currency.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
You must have a family philosophy for.
That's the thing. And you've got to define it. And how to define it? Put it on a document known as a family constitution. But you don't just write it down. Then make it alive. Live it out. Help the family to live out. There's a family that I really admired. I visited they invited me to talk to them. It's a big family. They have 5 generations between them. They have grandmothers who are in their 90s, 2 of them that are remaining, and then they have children who are below 10, 5 generations between them. They have created this culture where they meet 3 times every year. So they have a gathering in April during the school holidays. They have another gathering in August. Then they try to go on holiday together in December. So 3 times. Of course, it's a very large family, given that there are 5 generations between them. And not everyone will be there in every meeting. But everyone tries to be in one of the meetings. But what that has done to that family is that they've become so united. They've even created a welfare where they changa money together. And within that welfare, they have defined that if anyone wants to start a business, they can actually come and borrow from this kitty. And they would hold each other accountable to make sure that if you've borrowed, then you'll actually be able to bring that business up. That kitty is able to take care of any financial needs that they would have. But more importantly, it has brought the family so united.
Let me give you an example.
Yes.
I love practical examples.
Yeah.
And tell me if this makes sense.
Yeah.
If a family has 5 generations between them,
Yes.
I'll say there are no less than 100 people in
Yeah,
that
more.
family.
Yes.
There are more than 100.
There are more than 100.
200 possibly?
Let's say 100 plus thereabout.
100 plus. Let's
Yes.
say 120.
Yeah.
So if it's 120 people, if they were to have like a welfare
Yes.
for the family,
Yes.
because they say you are as strong as your weakest link.
Yes.
And if each family member, let's say, contributes 1,000 bob, because
Yes.
probably you can afford
Yes.
that, I'm assuming.
Yes.
For example,
Yes.
family, this is 120,000 per month.
Yes.
For them, this is 1.4 million every year.
Yes.
And this is a kitty that you probably don't need, but by just value of pooling resources pamoja,
Yes.
it means in a period of 10 years, just within the family alone,
Yeah.
you can cut up without compounding interest, just
Yes.
from 1,000 bob each.
Yes.
Kitu ya 15 to 20 million is easy
Very easy.
from 1,000 bob.
From 1,000 bob. That's exactly what they're doing. But now they've made it sweeter. Obviously, the family needed to be together for them to actually achieve this.
Yes.
So for them, what they've done, and I think I really admired, of course, the individual members could be 120, but those are many families that are represented.
Yes.
So they've said, in fact, the number that I had was they contribute 70,000 per home, per house. You see, a house may be Dr. Kengori, the spouse, and the children.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sindio?
Yes.
And because they are in 5 generations, they probably have almost 20 homes. Now, what can't that family do?
Hiyo hata if something happens to the family,
Yes.
hakuna pay bill, hakuna harambe,
Yes.
hakuna nini,
Exactly.
ni hapo.
Yeah. Those are now some of the structures that now families need to establish. So that's the value system. What is that shared vision, shared goal, shared practices that the family want to define and live it out? And it defines the culture that the family would have. The third aspect that we discovered that most families now need to define is what I was talking about, the family wealth. What is family wealth?
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Ukitusindikizia hiyo.
Yes.
Kulikuwa na story when President Uhuru was president. Kulikuwa na story ya Uhuru ananga do. Lakini Kenyatta family iko na do.
Yes.
That's what you mean? Okay.
It's part of it.
I'm just, sorry, I'm not
Yes.
putting you on the spot.
That's
Najua
right.
You can speak as an office.
That's right.
But just, I'll take responsibility for
That's
it.
right.
That's an example.
Yes.
Okay.
That's an example. But now, when you're talking of family wealth, in fact, I normally ask this question in most forums that I speak to. When a family is fighting in the family court for wealth transfer, are they fighting over wealth or are they fighting over assets? And what's the difference?
There's a hotel in the CBD
Yes.
that was valued at 4 billion.
Yes.
But the court ilikuwa na kesi
Yes.
for years
Yes.
because was it 4 siblings?
Yes.
Five siblings
Yes.
cannot agree on how to divide amongst themselves.
Yes.
4 billion shillings.
Exactly. Exactly. So is that wealth or is that an asset?
They are fighting over assets.
They're fighting over an asset.
Yes.
But in that hotel, the value that can be created if that hotel as a business is running, it probably may be a lot more than that 4 billion. Because when you if you own that hotel, it's exactly the example that I was giving of the shoemaking company. When you're passing over, when you're considering that hotel as the wealth of the family, what are you considering? There's the asset that is probably the building, the furniture, and the land where it is.
Yes.
That may be worth 4 billion.
Yes.
But there's the value that is created by virtue of that hotel operating. By that virtue of that hotel, running, its reputation being great. It has suppliers. It has clients. It has a strategy that it's running. What we have experienced is that the intangible value of the family wealth sometimes may be much greater than the asset. Because in most cases, the asset is just the core value. But you need to actually now unlock value from this asset. And the way you unlock value is making sure that
It is running.
it is running,
Functioning at maximum
functioning,
capacity.
it
value
has
addition.
relationships that are protected.
Yes.
So that now when you're passing over that wealth to the next generation, you're not just passing down the assets, but you're actually passing out the wealth itself.
And the value that keeps on
And the
giving.
value that keeps on giving. And that is where I was talking about when you're passing on that wealth, you're not just passing down the asset, but you need to actually train the people that needs to receive that on. What does
Which
it
was
make?
our number 2.
Which was on our number 2.
Yes.
What does it take for this wealth to continue being
Multiplying
managed?
and growing.
For one simple reason. You remember we talked about the family. The family will not remain static.
Keeps on growing.
It keeps on growing. And the wish would be that this wealth also keeps on growing to take care of the needs of that family across generations. And the value system that we are defining now lays the foundation on what are the principles that the family or the future generation need to adopt to now protect and steward this wealth into the future.
Okay.
Those 3 aspects are very critical. At the core of that is now what we now talk about, the estate planning structure, the strategy that you put in.
Wow.
Yes.
I almost asked you, but you've answered that question indirectly.
Yes.
So I'll just point it out before we move on.
Yes.
I was very curious to know, to share with the audience, because this is one of our areas of exploration.
That's right.
Does Kenya offer the opportunities of creation of generational wealth? And we just talked about it.
Yes.
Like if you make income, we are so obsessed with us looking better than the other.
Yes.
Whereas if you have a family that you've been blessed by, let's say, for example, 5 generations, and you look at the capacity of each family and
Yes.
agree on a kitty that you can be contributing to
Yes.
certain values of
Yes.
the family.
Yes.
And you can look out for each other from that kitty. Inamaanisha certain emergencies,
Yes.
you're covered.
Yes.
In terms of like growing as a unit,
Yes.
you're covered, and you also have an opportunity to multiply wealth. Because your example, now I'm seeing it clearly. Me hata nilikuwa naangalia as an individual, as in from an individual per family.
Yes.
But if you, let's say if you're if your extended family
Yes.
has 20 families,
Yes.
na hata mseme as per household,
Yes.
mnatoa 10k ama 20k, in 10 years, by God's grace, if you can grow that money,
Yeah.
you are richer than as a unit.
Yes, as an unit. But remember, hiyo ni marupurupu. Because now there is the core wealth that helps you to afford now checking out that 20k every month. Yes.
And when you think about it,
Yes.
ni marupurupu, but still it's top shelf marupurupu.
That's the thing.
In the Kenyan economy.
That's the thing.
Because if as a unit mnakuanga na kiti that grows with by 200k every month, na msiingize grid, mkuwe na a certain constitution that you follow.
Exactly.
And being a member of that family, kama there's an example I was given, and I know we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Trust. Yeah, there are families that whoever is born of that name.
Yes.
Akifika age ya 18, they get a house.
Yes.
And a car.
Yes.
So inamaanisha whoever is born of that family,
yes,
they will never know the struggle ya ati kutafuta nyumba nini. That is sorted for generations to come, and that's possible to actually create.
It is possible, but with a caveat, because you see, you also do not want to raise people who only are enjoying. You want the family members to also have the skills to add value to the wealth.
That's where the philosophy of the family values come in.
That's the thing. That's where the philosophy of the family wealth. And in fact, as I was talking about the core, you remember I was defining that family system that has the family, the value system, and the wealth. At the core of it is actually now where you now say, how do we plan this estate so that the system can now be stable across generations?
Unajua estate for most Kenyans inakuanga Huruma estate wapi, like we relate it to real estate sana.
Yes.
So what is estate kwanza? Because
so
I know you're
an
about
estate,
to say something.
An estate is basically the value of the wealth that the family has.
It's another word for net worth.
It's another word for, let me call it not net worth, but the wealth of the family. Okay. Because you see, that is what it's the sum total of
your money in the bank.
Your money in the bank, your vehicles, tushamba twako, including your people, because your people are also part of your estate, because the value will be created through people. So at the core of it, so the way you're managing that is you're actually achieving two critical objectives that are one of the biggest headaches for most families. Number one, ownership transfer. You own this wealth, but this wealth is owned through companies where you are the shareholder, or titles where the title is in your name, or the logbook is in your name. And for you to make sure that it actually becomes generational wealth, that ownership needs to be passed on from Dr. Kengori to Dr. Kengori Jr. and to the other one. And that's usually one of the biggest challenges that most families have.
Okay.
So how do you define that from a legal perspective? Because when you're not here, you cannot continue owning that title. It has to be passed on to someone else.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about that when you're not talking about now wills and trusts.
Sawa.
Yes. So number two is you've defined the ownership and you've preserved it and you're passing it down. Number two is now the management. How do you build governance structures to now manage that wealth, manage the value system, manage the family, so that the structure now makes sense across generations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going back to our number two, which was training.
Exactly.
Training of the relevant parties that are to benefit from what you've created.
Yes.
So number three?
So number three, we talked about why do families lose 70% of their wealth.
Yes.
So number one, we said lack of effective structures, which we said that it's a very small component. Number two, which is actually now the biggest component, is trust and communication within the family members.
We also talked about
training the next generation.
Yes.
The last one is an interesting one that most families actually never consider, is establishing a family mission or a family vision. When you're saying that as Dr. Kengori, this is what I have as a family. This is my family wealth. these are the people around me. How do I visualize this situation 2-3 generations to come? I can give you, I think, something that I have observed as an example. Most people in this country, when they are thinking of financial planning, in most cases, they are thinking of just at most the next 10 years. Because what they are thinking of is kusomesha watoto, sindio? Maybe to acquire some assets, including the family home. And in most cases, in your career in the next 10, 20 years, you'll be able to do that. And that's why you see most of the financial solutions that a lot of people have is an insurance policy that has a maturity of 10 years. Very few people have a 15-year maturity. Meaning, what they're thinking about is that in the next 10 years, I want to make sure that I can educate my children. But what they don't think about is that what happens in the next 25 years, the next 30 years, when my children are now getting married and they're establishing their own families. That is now what we're talking about, establishing a long-term mission or a family mission, where you're not just thinking of short-term, because I consider 10 years, now when you're talking of generational wealth, to be very short-term. You're not thinking multi-generational, where you're saying, as a family, this is our balance sheet. You see, just like the way in a company, I run a company in ICEA Lion. And so often, every year or probably every 3 years, we'll sit down with the shareholders and the directors and say that this is the balance sheet of the company. These are our assets. These are our liabilities. And the strategic conversation is on how do we grow this balance sheet to X amount in the next 3 years, or in the next 5 years, in the next so years. And then we are basically looking at what are the opportunities that the company has to utilize to actually grow that balance sheet. It's the same conversation that families have. Because every family, and because you can talk of many different families, the balance sheet of the family sometimes is bigger than most company startups. Because you'd be looking at what is your net asset position, and that net asset position will be a factor of a bank balance, you have a money market account, you have probably some pension portfolio that you can value, you have a revenue that you're earning out of your hustle, whether you're employed or you're doing your own hustle. That's your asset side. Then your liability side, you have your expenditures. Could be education for your children, Medicare for your family, a holiday, it's part of your expenses, or your general upkeep. When you look at that, that's your net position. And so what families need to think about is that net position, how would you desire that to look like when the children are now getting married and your grandchildren are on board? And you'd want to now take a much bigger family for holiday. You'd want to probably, provide some assets to your children. What opportunities that the family have using the asset structure that you have to unlock so that that balance sheet can grow to meet the needs of that family structure 2, 3, 4, 5 generations to come. And how do you lay that base? And that's the reason why you talked of one of the serious families in this country, and probably one of the strategies that may have made them that powerful and that solid, where you're saying so and so does not own anything. It's because they probably have a strategy to grow that wealth to take care of the needs of the family members into the future. And their estate plan, now that we've understood what an estate is, has been structured to actually preserve that ownership, but more importantly, to now govern the growth of it so that it takes care of the future family members that will come in 60 years from now. That will be 2 generations to come. That will probably be 3 times the size of the family today.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Now, tukielekea ku close, I'd like us to now check another area of interest. I'll put it this way. One, I saw a very interesting comment again. I reference Twitter a lot, X, where someone said there was an issue where one of, I believe it was in reference to a former High Court judge who passed on. And there was an issue in terms of access
to his
Yes.
wealth.
Yes.
And the money was needed because I believe the father was not feeling well.
That's
and
right.
The money could have really come through.
Yeah.
There was an issue there. So now it happens that I believe it is in this context that I see a tweet. Yeah. Why do people need wills if wills can be contested? Right? Trusts can solve all these problems.
Yes.
And then now, my friend, I have a friend who is a doctor who mentioned that the world is so rotten nowadays in terms of the dating pool that he considers putting all his wealth in a trust.
Yes.
That way, it is he's safe and he's covered
Yes.
all through.
Yeah.
Then now, in our first meeting, by the way,
Yeah.
from the conversation, I picked something.
Yes.
I was looking for automation at some point,
Yes.
whereby before I got introduced to the concept of a trust, if you can live on autopilot,
Yes.
like you can work as an individual,
Yes.
you still make money, but you don't own anything,
Yes.
whereby school fees gets paid, your rent gets paid, you can buy assets.
Yes.
I was looking for, at a certain point, you would think that a bank account can do that.
That's right.
Then the trust comes in.
Yes.
So as per the definition, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
a trust is creating another individual that is immortal, who can live for hundreds of years
Yeah.
and on automation. And I think that ties to the other examples of if everything you own is owned in trust,
Yes.
you never have to worry about interference. Break it down for us.
Precisely. I can actually begin with, when we started, you said that we'll talk about that you can actually almost live forever.
Yes.
So globally,
Yes.
there are only two ways to transition assets from yourself to others. As what probably most people talk of succession, succession planning.
Yes.
Because you own this wealth and you want to hand it over across generations. So the first way, and what most people know of, is a will. A will is simply a document that you're writing down, I own asset A, I would want asset A to go to so-and-so, asset B to go to so-and-so. You're basically listing out your assets and you're saying, upon your demise,
You're giving them out.
who do you want that asset to go to? The problem in this country, I am not a lawyer, but one of the things that we've actually experienced in our life, in our career, is that wills have become a problem in this country. It's actually a good solution, but you're not there to actually effect what you had absolutely put down. For one simple reason. There are some things that you may have done with very good intentions. For example, you have structured a will and you're saying that I am giving so-and-so, but I am not giving so-and-so because while I was alive, I probably gave them, enough resources. So the people that I have included in my will are the ones that probably I had not taken care of. But you see, this person that you probably have not included in the will can easily come and say, why have I not been included in this will? And that, in many cases, stalls the conversation. One of the examples that have been given by my legal colleagues within the office is a scenario where, as Peter Wachira, I may be a very good-hearted person, and where I live or we shall go, there's a neighbor family that are very poor, but they have a very bright child. And I see, as a good-hearted person, I would want to take care of this bright child. So I offer to pay for their education, for their upkeep until they are of age. Then, unfortunately, when they've just finished university, I pass on. My intention was not for them to be part of my family. It's just to take care of them. That person can actually approach the court when my will is being read and say, I have evidence that this guy was taking care of all my needs while I was growing up. So I am one of their dependent. So I need to be included in that will. That has become one of the challenges. Because a will only becomes effective through the probate process or through the court succession process. And it has become very challenging for most families. So the other option that now I think it has never been a better time for this country to now structure generational wealth is where you now create a trust. Now, unlike a will, a trust now becomes effective immediately. So you can set up the trust today like Dr. Kengori, and it becomes effective now. And just like you said, what a trust basically is that you're creating a legal person, almost like a shadow of yourself. So you create that legal person, you incorporate it, just like the way you incorporate a company, but I'll differentiate between a trust and a company. But you now transition the ownership of everything that you own to that trust. It's a very simple process, but you've done a very significant item.
Yes.
Number one, you have removed the risk of mortality on you. Because you see, this legal person now owns the asset. It means that because the ownership is already protected there, whether you're there or not, no one will ever need to go to court to fight for ownership of the assets. Because you've created that legal person, and that legal person owns the assets. But number two, it gives you an opportunity to now define the management structure of the assets. You see, a will not give you that, because a will is just a list, and when you're gone, people go to court through that probate process, they fight it out, and eventually the assets are executed and handed over. But because the trust has been created now, and you've structured, consolidated that wealth within that, you now have the opportunity of defining the management structure, the governance structure of that wealth. You now create a trust, you define now trustees who would be managing that. The good thing is that you can also be a trustee of your own trust. Together
and you
with
also get to benefit
yours.
when you are alive.
Exactly.
And you're also in charge whether you are dead.
Exactly.
Technically, you take control of your assets.
Yes.
When you're alive, you
Exactly.
can benefit when you're alive.
Exactly.
You don't have to wait for other people to benefit when you're dead. You choose who benefits.
You choose who benefits. And because you've created that, and you're the one who has created that, you're the one who has the authority to define the rules that that trust operates.
Yes.
So you will define who becomes the beneficiary in that trust. So that if there's someone else that you feel like, I've taken care of them, you can exclude them. And there is no court in this world that can ever overrule that. So you define who are the beneficiaries, who are the caretakers of the wealth. So those caretakers will be the trustees. And like I said, because you've created it while you're alive, it is a living trust. Meaning that you are the one who have created it, you have defined the rules, you can become the trustee of your own trust, but you're also a beneficiary. So you're the creator, you're also a trustee, you're also a beneficiary together with others. It also gives you an opportunity.
Yes.
You remember now when we're talking about now training the stakeholders on how to, the information about your family wealth and all that. It gives you an opportunity to now bring them on board, take them through a training, help them understand what is it that you think. When you're creating this wealth, how did you create it? What are the things that you would want to be considered to actually preserve and manage this wealth and grow it? And because it's a living trust, you now have the opportunity of maturing it over time. And that maturity, I normally refer to it as you're the creator of the trust. So you're the one who has created the rules. You're the only one who has the right and the power to amend those rules.
No one else.
No one else. So along the course of managing that trust, you realize there's a clause that I put in within the trust document that
Needs to be amended.
if I am not there, my children will misbehave and will trouble the trustees.
Lock it.
So you amend that. Or you realize there's a clause that is there that if I am not there, the trustees have so much power that they can probably mismanage my beneficiaries. You have the opportunity to refine that. So that now you'll have an opportunity to grow it and mature it so well, so that by the time you're transitioning, the estate or the family wealth now simply transitions to future generations. But now this is now the sweet spot and where you say now you can actually create your wealth for forever. It's only a trust that allows now a structure where beneficiaries who will probably even be born 300 years to come to automatically be onboarded. You're saying anyone who is born out of my lineage can be onboarded. And you can even create some rules. We've seen some families creating some rules that the people who are beneficiaries are only people who are in my lineage, but there are others who will come in out of marriage. And you're saying they can benefit by virtue of marriage. But if that marriage breaks down, then huyu jamaa aende aache familia yangu ikiendelea na wealth. So meaning that you can actually communicate even 1 million years to come on what happens to your wealth and who benefits and how it is managed. That's what a trust does.
I have a very wild mind.
Yes.
From that explanation, let's see the scope of this trust.
Yes.
I have a friend who is part of the Nairobi IVF Center.
Yes.
Anaitwa Joy Nore.
Yes.
So I did a documentary on their place of the IVF Center.
Yes.
And in terms of their breakthrough technology, they've helped couples even have children after they are dead.
Yes.
You know the concept?
Yes.
So now they have facilities that can store the baby seeds for at 1,000 years.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So now unaweza enda uache mayai yako hapo, alafu 100 years to come, so your trust is there.
Yes.
So you can give instruction of someone who wants to get pregnant for you and mayai hapa hill, sindio? And your child can be born of you.
Yes.
100, 200, 300 years to come.
Yeah.
Na akuja benefit kwa trust.
Yes.
Pesa iko, like ataenda shule, atasoma,
Yes. You can do that. I mean, there are possibilities of that, but why would you go to that length? Because, I mean, the normal family is
defining living forever.
Living forever.
Sema, if the family misbehaves, kuna backup ya mayai hapo hapa hili. Because IVF center iko hapo tu karibu.
That's right.
Volunteers na uandike instructions za mtu aende mayai.
Yes.
Surrogacy iko hapo low and mtoto anazaliwa. Direct descendant.
Direct descendant.
So your grandchildren are actually older than some of your children. Like
yes.
You can toy. You are the one who writes the rules.
You're the one who writes the rules. And as long as someone is part of your lineage, whether through your mayai or through your family tree, they automatically becomes your beneficiary. And that's what we've seen actually globally.
Yes.
In like families like the Rockefeller family.
Yes.
I mean, when we started, I was talking about the Vanderbilt.
Yes.
There's a huge study of how the Vanderbilt have handled their wealth succession versus the Rockefeller.
Medici walipoteza yao yote. The Medici family. The Medici was involved in banking. I think they are the ones who evolved into JP Morgan, if I'm not wrong. But
yes, I think that's part of the Rockefeller family.
JP Morgan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, look at it this way. Rockefeller decided to create trusts, and for him, if you look at the wealth strategy,
yes,
what they did is that they created several trusts to handle different purposes. Some of them are charity trusts, but quite a number of them are to take care of the family needs.
Okay.
And because that wealth has actually been managed through trusts, they managed to establish a very professional management structure, governance structures within that. But beyond that, they have established very strong family governance frameworks. The wealth continues to grow. Several generations, I think they probably could be on their 5th, 7th generation now. We know that family as one of the most powerful in the world. But there's something that I would want you to note. When you talked about the Vanderbilt, the only third generation or generational descendant that is known is Anderson Cooper. The others somehow fizzled in thin air. They are still there, but they are not really known. But look at the family tree of Rockefeller. They have had a vice president. They have had 2 governors. And chances are that in future, the family tree will continue having very influential people. So this conversation of generational wealth structuring is not just about the wealth. It's a lot more about the family. Because you're not only preserving the dignity of the family members, but you're also preserving the structure of the family wealth into the future. So that essentially, a million years to come, if the world will still be there, if that structure continues the way it is, the Rockefeller family will still be wealthy.
Okay. Sawa. So final thing, tukifunga, we've spoken about wealth, generational wealth, and it's important to know who fits in the category to open a trust.
Yes.
Like unajua, kuna mtu labda anajiambia, mimi na hii 50k yangu per month, do I even qualify to think of a trust? I don't trust anyone with that money. Hata hiyo kidogo. Who qualifies to build a trust? In the context of working as a family and family values, it makes sense for even as little as 1,000 bob. 10,000 bob as a unit, as a household. But for individuals, is there levels to this thing?
So there are certainly levels because there are different trusts that would fit different individuals. So for most of the wealthy families, now this country has very robust, probably even one of the best legal structures around family trusts globally. So for most wealthy families, a family trust, which is a private trust, would make a lot of sense. So you need some sort of sizable wealth to do that. But there are trusts that are very simple, almost free to set up, that would handle, for example, cash or just contributory trust. You can actually even begin a trust with almost nothing, set up a trust within an umbrella framework that would be almost free to set up. ICEA, we have that kind of a trust that we call Milele Trust Fund. You can set it up free, and then you build it up. And you can use that trust kitty to even run your children's education, to run probably the medical fund for your aged parents, or to even probably connect it to other financial sources that you have. For example, if you have your insurance policy, that cash trust can be the beneficiary to that insurance policy, so that when it matures, the trust can now take the maturity value and discharge the intentions that you had. If you have your pension fund, instead of writing your children, your minor children as the beneficiaries, the risk is that as minor children, the trustee of the pension fund will not pay them money. They will probably pay their guardian. And you're hoping that that guardian is of good mind to receive that money and take care of their needs. Instead of doing that, you can actually set up a simple trust so that that trust becomes the beneficiary of your pension benefits. Yes. So there are different trusts that would meet different purposes. But generally, when you're talking about generational wealth creation, there's a focus of families that have some sizable portfolio that need to protect. But you'd realize that even families that may not have a lot, probably it's like a small acre of land that you want to protect, you can actually set up a trust and place that acre under that trust. Then in the future, probably the family will have the resources to develop it. But what you've done is that you've protected the ownership so that it doesn't have to go through battles in court.
And someone cannot steal your trust because that's all they need to steal your whole acre.
Someone cannot steal your trust.
It's a shadow of yourself.
It is a shadow of yourself.
Sawa.
And it transitions your livelihood. It transitions that shadow. Basically, I mean, the simple way of defining it, that's the reason why we normally call it a legal person. It's like we came in through our parents. But if our parents pass on, we continue to live. It's the same thing as a trust. You are the parent of the trust. You're the creator of the trust. You've created the trust, but it gets a life of its own. So that once you exit, the trust continues surviving in its own right.
Sawa. So one of the conversations Mr. Peter Wachira amekuwa nazo online is a conversation on Spice FM. So on top of this one, feel free to tag links to previous conversations zenye amekuwa hapa chini ya description ya hii video. And at this point, we trust that this conversation has been of value to you. Asante sana for making time for us.
Thank you very much.
This is karibu, and I believe this is a first of many conversations. Na in case kuna kitu tumeacha, Please feel free to tell us, utuambie hapa kwa comment section ya video. So schedule ya Mr. Peter Wachira iki allow tena, we are happy to set up another conversation if possible. Asante sana.
Thank you. Really appreciate.
Asante.